this has basically shifted the conversation from a federal conversation to a much more local one in reopening. In Kansas City, Missouri, for example, the mayor there instituted his own so-called 10-10-10 plan, which mandated that most non-essential retail businesses limit the number of people to 10% occupancy or 10 people, whichever of the two was larger, and keep a record of names and contact information for all customers staying for more than 10 minutes. The plan was interestingly swiftly attacked by a conservative liberty group as, quote, Nazi-like for asking churches to keep a record of service attendees. For more on that and the pressure seemingly facing anyone who dares to put forward a plan, a substantive reopening plan, we're joined by the mayor of Kansas City, Missouri himself, Mayor Quinton Lucas, joins us right now. Mayor, thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, let's just call it what it is right now, because it seems like a very, very contentious time. I understand people are stressed. You've got people killing store clerks for asking them to put masks on. You got armed protests in Michigan. How hard is it right now on a local level to put forward a plan that makes sense and keep the peace right now?
You know, I think it has been incredibly difficult. What Kristen just referred to, which is the fact that we are not getting clear federal guidance, has kind of started a free-for-all in the states. And a state like mine has a governor who has eschewed wearing masks by and large in public. And we have almost anything goes with a little bit of statement as to maintain social distancing. In Missouri, you can now have a concert of any size that happens right now. So those of us who are mayors have been trying to add on whatever layers we can. I do appreciate the governor giving us the chance to add some other rules. And we thought that 10-10-10 was necessary because we want to have some guidance. There have been outbreaks in this region. There's a prison right up the way that has more than 500 people infected. There is a meatpacking plant 45 minutes from here that has hundreds infected, many of whom are immigrants who live in Kansas City. So that's why we're taking these important steps now, but it is not without a ton of hate each day, but you know, we can handle it.
Well, I wonder if you can, because that's the question right now. If the federal government isn't stepping in here and it's up to local mayors and officials to institute these plans, I mean, you look at the breakdown right now, the striking difference, there's a Change Research poll when you look at the differences between Republican voters and Democratic voters. They look specifically at battleground states, and the split between those two camps saying how comfortable they would be, whether they think it's safe to go take a flight right now or visit a bar, is quite striking. When you look at that, it's almost 3 times as high when you ask Republican voters saying they would actually go out and visit some of these restaurants, bars, etc. So, I mean, when you're looking at that and you're a mayor and you're elected by the people in the town, how hard is it for you to come out and say, look, no, you can't go out right now because it's not safe based on the data that we're looking at?
You know, by and large, I think most people in the cities, which themselves are often slightly more progressive enclaves, have done a good job of not only complying, but also making sure that we would continue to be able to at least message what it is we're trying to do. I do note, though, that we have real challenges. The fact that, you know, I've had protests at my city hall. There's another one planned for later this afternoon. And it has become the centerpiece of this kind of more political debate, which I think is incredibly regrettable. You know, we're all just trying to save lives right now and trying to say, well, you know, while reopening the economy is important, and indeed we're reopening the economy in Kansas City and in St. Louis and all types of places, Detroit eventually, we're still trying to take steps that can save lives. And so it's incredibly contentious, and we would love to have the cover of a federal government that is supporting some of our efforts, or state governments. But, you know, we're not blessed with that. We're kind of used to that here in Middle America and in our cities. I just think that it's unfortunate because we will probably continue to see these meatpacking plant outbreaks, the prison outbreaks that you're catching in more small towns throughout Middle America.
Mayor, it's Kristen here. So just a moment ago, you said that the lack of guidance coming out from the federal government is really creating this environment of a free-for-all. Do you also think, just like even on a state level, that you're not getting enough guidance that can then be disseminated down to cities like yours? And the guidance that you're receiving and the decisions that some of these officials are making on a state level, do you think that there are political reasons or partisan reasons behind it, as opposed to something based in medical science?
Yeah, I mean, I think that basically when you looked back to, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, when the president tweeted, liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia, liberate Minnesota, it changed the whole nature of the conversation around the country. And then we saw very shortly after that, the governor of Georgia says everything's going to be open, but with a few limits. And then basically lots of red state governors and a few blue state, I look at Colorado as one example, have kind of said the same things. And so, it's my view that it has been unfortunate. And there's this other thing. Presidents matter. Governors matter. I was talking to a group of folks, African Americans in my city, in Kansas City, who were saying, well, the governor said we could do this. These are people that don't necessarily vote that way or anything of that sort, but you get these incredible mixed messages. It's hard for me to say this is still a tough time when my governor's in a grocery store in mid-Missouri today without a mask on and saying, hey, let's make sure we all celebrate Mother's Day. I mean, I'm all about moms too, but I'm also all about making sure that we're following good social distancing guidelines, wearing masks, following rules. And so, it's become more difficult. We will keep trying to do it. But I think the other thing that might be of interest to your viewers is the fact that we can probably only sustain it so long. My city of Kansas City isn't on an island. And we have all these folks around us that are doing any number of things, going to get their hair done, going to do all types of stuff. And that slowly, it will impact all of us in the city. And frankly, it'll probably impact us politically, because I don't think it's fair to say the doctors are doing it all now.
No, I mean, it's a very good point. And certainly, I think right now is a very good time to be pro-mom. But when we look at cases around you, you're obviously not on an island. And you look at St. Joseph, Missouri, just a little bit outside of Kansas City. And right now, you look at the data there, it's showing the highest average case count in terms of daily increase, doubling almost every 3 days. I mean, that's number one right now when you look across the country, and it's just down the road from you guys. So, I mean, you're obviously not the mayor of St. Joseph, Missouri. So how do you handle all that on a local level if there is no guidance from above?
I think the thing we try to do is actually through persuasion. I'm not the mayor of some of the towns that are 45 minutes, an hour from us, but I'm on their television news every night. And so we are really trying to make sure we're messaging why we're doing this. And I've actually enjoyed the fact that, we get letters and calls from my office, not just complaints about me destroying freedom in the Constitution, but also sometimes positive things where people are saying, thank you for giving this guidance. We are basically trying to give good commonsensical guidance for a number of counties, a part of the state around us that I don't know if it's getting that directly right now. And, people will be making individual choices in those sorts of places. I hope they're ones that say we want to limit our contact, we want to actually respect science, and we don't want to rush everybody to go back to big events immediately.
All right. Mayor Quinton Lucas from Kansas City, Missouri, bringing us the latest there. Thank you so much for taking the time out of the day. I know you're busy, and I know you got criminal attacks to go back to and defend against out there, but appreciate you taking the time, sir.
Thank you.